actual analysis, data visualization, storytelling, and all of that. So I will need the 3 days tomorrow, next week for that. So we're going to move very fast. So let me go to the we are live. Let's go to the index and match, right? So, and did anyone here attempt to do this? This one. Did anyone here attempt to do this? Hello. No one is saying anything. So nobody attempted this one.
No, sir.
Oh, sir, sorry. Where was the assignment among the one that was already shared? I was not even. Network was logging me out yesterday.
I've not dropped. Okay. Oh, I've not dropped the assignments when it comes to lookups and ifs, right?
Okay.
I wanted to drop them together tomorrow because I want to finish up lookups today. So let's just quickly work with this, right? So in this case, we have, you can see here we have multiple of the same. You can see each cookie here is duplicated, right? Together with the market as well. Together with the market as well, we have their respective revenues here, right? I was the one that put this one here. Let me just delete it. This isn't supposed to be there. So we have, oh my God. So now, here we're faced with the different problem from what we were facing here, from what we were facing here. All of this here, we didn't deal with duplicates, but here we have duplicates. So how do we navigate through these duplicates? We need to map them. We need to map them together. What do I mean by that? So we need to search for birthday cake India as one entity, birthday cake Malaysia as one entity, birthday cake Philippines as one entity. So how do I do that? I will just come here. Again, I'll start up with a match, right? So I'll go match. I'll go match. I'll go match. So what's going to be my lookup value? My lookup value now would be cookie type and India, right? That's going to be my lookup value, comma. What's that going to be my lookup array? My lookup array will be cookie type and market, right? Cookie type and market. Then let me close this and let's run it. So I get an 11 here, right? So I get an 11. So let's check chocolate chip for India. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. So let me change this to fortune and Malaysia is giving us 17. So let's calculate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Fortune for Malaysia. Did you guys get that? This is the function. In situations where there are duplicates on both sides, so you do it like this to create a unique match. Now we're sure the match is working, we'll create our index, right? I will go here, I will go equals to index. I'll go equals to index. What are we looking for? We're looking for the revenue. So this is going to be our array. Right, comma. What's going to be our row number? I'm going to hard code this 17 here. I'll press enter. What do? I'll come here, I'll grab this. I'll come here, I'll replace that 17 with this match function here. And I'll press enter. So now if I change this to birthday cake for India, it's giving us 4.3 million, 4.3 million. If I change this from Fortune to Fortune Philippines, 8.4 million. Fortune Philippines, 8.4 million. So you guys can see how it works. This is the function here. Do you guys have any questions? If you have any questions regarding lookups, this is the opportunity to ask. So everybody's okay. All right. Oluwa, that name is long, but you know yourself. Akinlade, you can ask a question.
Good afternoon, sir. Oh, good evening, sir. Sorry.
Good evening.
I'm sorry, I did not see what they call it, the code you put in for the match, and it was 8:31. You ended instead of 8:32, which is the end of the file. I was confused about that.
Yeah, I am 8:31.
In the match, I think.
Look at the range now. Look at the
Oh,
range.
it's 8:30.
Everything. I told you guys, look at the match function. The match function is from here to here. You go match, you match the first lookup value, which is Fortune, and the second lookup value, which is Philippines. So you want to concat them together, right? So you now say you want to look for the lookup value of Fortune in the cookie column, and the revenue and Philippines in the market column. Once you do this, it's going to return the index of where these two figures overlap. Then we can now use our index to pull out that value by referencing the revenue column.
Okay, sir.
Any other question? Any other question? We're quickly going to look at errors and statistics. Errors and statistics. If you attended, did you attend yesterday's class? If you don't understand the thing, did you attend yesterday's class? Because if you attended yesterday's class, there is no way you will have issues with what we just did here.
I was here, but network kept knocking me out. So
have you watched the video from yesterday?
I don't know if the video is uploaded yet.
The video is uploaded. Go and check. Go to the YouTube.
Okay.
The video is uploaded.
All right.
Yeah.
So, I was there yesterday all through too. I did not understand the thing. That's index and match.
Go back, watch the video again. I feel you have a better clarity on it. It's quite simple. And I know I spent a lot of time yesterday on it. Once you understand the basic uses of index and match, you wouldn't have a problem. So just go back, take your time, watch the video again. So let me quickly open this, right? So how do you handle errors in Excel? How do you handle errors in Excel? Errors in Excel can occur for various reasons. That could be including incorrect formulas, missing data, or incompatible data types, right? Understanding these errors and knowing how to troubleshoot them is crucial for effective data analysis. Do you understand? below are common Excel errors, their uses, their causes, and how to address them. So we're going to go through the basic types of errors, and I'll work with like maybe 3 or 4, then the rest you can read them up. But the main function we'll be using for all of these errors is the if error function, right? The if error function and the if function. Do you see? If you look at it, so that if error function is the function you use to handle errors. Now, let's look at it. This data set will be available to you guys together with the index and match today, so that you guys can practice from now to Wednesday. So if I were to come to, I need to close some of these things. I'm coming. It's getting me confused. Okay, here we are, right? So the first error that we encountered here is called, I mean, if you guys have seen this error before. Okay. Are you guys raising your hands to say you have, or you have a question? Inspire and Rachel. Raphael,
I have.
okay. All right. So this error, what is the cause of these errors? Right? What is the cause of these errors? So the cause of these errors is, this usually occurs when a formula attempts to divide by 0 or an empty cell. Right? It occurs when a formula attempts to divide by 0 and empty cell. And what is the solution? You use the if error statement to handle division errors gracefully. So let me come back to this. You can see here, right? You can see here 50. We wrote the function here. All the function 50. So sales divided by units. We wanted to find out the unit price, right? So we'll go sales divided by units. That was the function we wrote here. We got 50 here as our unit price. Here we got a division error. Here we got a division error. Why did we get this error, class? Glory.
Because we are trying to divide 1,000 by 0.
Thank you very much. So how do you handle these errors? It will just you encase this function inside an if error. Look at it here. Right? You encase it. So we say, okay, how does this function work? If error, open brackets, if there's no error, run the calculation, right? Comma, if there's an error, instead of returning this division error, return cannot be divisible by 0. Right? So this thing looks like, what formula does this thing resemble from what we've done over the last 2 weeks? There's a formula that shares similar logic. Yeah, Beatrice.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Can you hear me? Good evening, sir.
Yeah, I can.
Thank God, finally I can be heard. It looks like the if function that we did 2 weeks ago.
Exactly.
If this, return that.
Thank you very much. And if you look at the first two letters there, what does that spell? The first 2 letters there. If. So it's basically if error, open brackets. If there's no error, run the calculation, comma. If there's an error, then you tell it what to do. In this case, I just passed a string to tell the person that you cannot divide it by 0, right? So that the person can go and cross-check his values. You can also pass in functions and calculations there if you want, just like we were doing with the if function. But this is basically how the if error works. And this if error is like paracetamol. When you're having headache, when they get cold, when they get kata, you will take the same medicine. Abi? So that is what is also applicable to this if error. Use this if error to handle most of the errors you're having in Excel, because you can't really do much about the error. Can't really do much if you cannot link the data back to the person that gathered it to know where that error was coming from. But we can make it better. Instead of just having errors like this, we can pass messages. Right? We can pass messages. Okay. So so whenever you see this not divisible by 0, just know why you're having that kind of error. If you can't see my screen, please refresh your network. It's probably from your end. Right? So now, the second error, you guys have also seen this, right? I think this is one of the most common ones. This one, right? You guys have seen this one now.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So what is the cause of this error? This happens when a value is not available to a function or formula, right? So this happens when a value is not available in a function or formula. Now, what is the solution? Use if errors to catch any errors often seen with lookup functions. So if you guys can remember in XLOOKUP, we had a if not found clause, right? I don't know if you guys can remember.
Yes.
If
Yes,
yes. So if that if not found is an embedded if error in the XLOOKUP, right? It's embedded in the XLOOKUP, so you can use it to treat those functions. Again, you can use if error. I told you this if error is like Panadol, not paracetamol. It's like Panadol. You can handle 10 different problems in one. Yes. Let's look at it. The third. I'm going to drop these sheets for you guys so that you guys can see how I was able to apply all of these things. Now, I'm going to write this one because there's a new function here called isNumber. I want to show you guys what this isNumber is, what it does. Now, the third one here is the value error. Again, it's a very popular error. We tend to see this a lot. What is the cause of this error? It occurs when a formula has the wrong type of arguments or operands. What is the solution? Ensure the data types are correct. Use ifs to check for the valued inputs. Now, if I come here, right? If I come here, I said, okay, fine. I want to get the total payout package of each of these staffs here, right? So the person's salary in conjunction with the bonus, right? So I came here and I said, okay, fine. Sum up salary plus bonus. Are we together? To get the total payouts, right? I pressed enter and I dragged it down. But then we encountered some errors. Why did we encounter this error here?
Because some are letters and some are numbers, sir.
You cannot sum up numbers with alphabets or strings. So how do you sort out this issue? Again, you can't change it, but you can format it in a way that when you're giving that work back to somebody or the person that gave it to you, the person knows what the error is and how to fix it. Then they can return it back to you for you to continue analysis. So I came here. Now, look at this code. It's nothing crazy, right? This is what we've done. This is what we've done, but we're going to use this is number. So what does the is number do? The is number is a function in Excel that checks to see if the value in a cell is a number or not. If it's a number, it's going to return true. If it's not a number, it's going to return false. I'm going to click this and I'll press this. If I drag it down, you will see 50,000 true is a number. ABC false is not a number. 60K true. 55 true. 70 true. You guys understand how this thing works now?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we're going to incorporate this in conjunction with the if statement to tell Excel that, okay, this thing you're doing, there's an error. So what do I do? I'll come here. I'll say, okay, fine. I'll say if we can use and, we can use or. I'll say, okay, if either of the numbers, so I'll go up. If either of the number here, I'll start with the first one, comma. Sorry, I just had a brain freeze. Let me grab the function from here. Okay. Okay. Let me copy this out. And I'll explain it for you guys. So you say, okay, if, right? What does the AND operator do, class? The AND operator, what does it do? Beatrice. Beatrice. Akinlade, the next person, because of time. The next person. Akinlade. Oluwatumi.
Okay, sir. And is
Yeah.
absolute, sir. So and means if it is a number or a letter to start the function. Something.
So basically what we wrote from here to here is we're saying, okay, fine. This number must return, this first number must return true, and the second number must return true for the AND to be true. So when or how does these two numbers return true is if both of them are numbers, using the if the is number function here, right? However, in case this, so this is like the logic there. I'll say, okay, fine. If the value comes out to be true, sum up both numbers, right? Sum up these numbers. If the value returns false, output invalid outputs. And once you run it, if the both of them are numbers, it's going to sum it up. If either of them is not a number, it's going to return invalid outputs rather than a value error. Inspire.
It was a mistake, sir.
All right. So now, like I said, I'm going to work with just, okay, Sylvanus.
Good afternoon, sir. I didn't actually get that AND operator in this case.
It's still the same logic. It's still the same logic. Go back, have a refresher. I showed you guys how the is number works. The is number checks if the number in a cell is a number or not. If it's a number, it's going to return true. If it's not a number, it's going to return false. And I told you guys the AND operator here, everything must be true for it to return true. So if this one, if it checks for the first number C13, which is this, and it returns true, and it checks for D13, which is this, and it returns true, this AND operator is going to return true. So it's going to be, if the value is true, which is the output of this AND operator we wrote here, sum it up. Right? Sum it up. If either of these numbers, either of these expressions here is returning false, the only way for it to return false is if its number is returning false. That means the content of that cell is not a number. It's going to return false. Once 1 returns false, automatically this AND is going to push out false as its output. So instead of this to happen, it will be value if false, and you will get the invalid output. So instead of you returning an error, you're now returning a prompt that you put in here. That's the input they're trying to do. There's a problem there. It's invalid. So that's how this thing works. I will refer. Did I?
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening.
Please, I would like to know, do we just automatically use the error functions, or is it that we assume while working that there are errors there? Since if it's a large data set, we might not be able to see in between the rows and columns to detect errors.
You don't make assumptions as a data analyst. You work with facts, so you don't assume. I'm just telling you now for situations like this. For situations like this, whenever you get errors, if there's an error, you will see the error there. When you try to work on a function, you're going to see the error there. This is the error we got here. If we were to do this, we literally have an error here. Do you understand? So when you get these kinds of errors, you can treat them.
Okay, so my question. Okay, sorry. The reason why I asked is because it was easy to detect this because we are just looking at it. Because the set is not large.
If it's large, like I told you guys in XLOOKUP, you put in your filter and you filter out only the column, the rows that has the value error or the error you're trying to fix. Then you can treat them in that smaller sample size. When you're done, you remove your filter and you continue working.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, it's a large data set. So I'm going to work with one more. I'm going to send these notes. You guys should read up on them. We'll have the ref, which indicates an invalid cell reference, often due to deleted cells. Again, if error. We'll have the name error. The name error we get here is, what's the cause? Excel does not recognize text in a formula, often due to typo. What is the solution? Verify the function names and references. Now, when I type out Excel function names, what do you guys notice I do? There's always one thing I do when I type out an Excel function. I don't know if any of you have been paying attention over the last 2 weeks. Glory.
You make sure that you select those options that Excel brings out, the correct options that
exactly.
You don't type it out.
Exactly. That's what I do. It's not I'm lazy or I cannot write it out. But I always go with the recommendation from Excel. Why? Because they cannot be a typographical error. So to avoid this kinds of errors, you write your functions that way. If you believe enough your typing skills, I'm not a very prolific typer. And my house, my eyes are very sensitive to light. My bulbs are always off. So I'm typing out of muscle memory most of the time when I'm working with you guys because I can't see my keyboard. My laptop does not have keyboard light. So I always need to be sure. I always need to be sure about the functions I'm calling. And the only way for me to be sure is to click to activate the one recommended for me rather than what I type. Williams, Beatrice. Your hand is up. Oh. I don't know if you have a question.
Oh, sorry, my hand is still up. Sorry, sir. I was about to answer the question you asked.
Okay, all right.
Before Amy started.
All right. So we have the number. We have the number error. I think I'll play with this. This will be the final one. We have the null. We have the spill. So please, just read up on this, and it's very short. It's just cause solution, cause solution. You will understand the causes so that when X you're working and you encounter these errors, you will know the root cause and you can try to rectify it because of time. So I'm going to play with this num error here. So now, right? The reason why we're having an error here, I try to look for the square root of all of these values. why are we having an error here? If you understand how square root works, this is basic mathematics. Why are we having errors here? Okay, I did that.
There's a negative sign in front of the figures.
All right. When you're checking for square roots, any number that is 0 and below, it doesn't work. Right? It doesn't work. I cannot get the square root. Let me see. I might be wrong. I'm not really great in. Let me change this to 0 and let me press enter. It's giving us 0. So any number lesser than 0, right? Any number lesser than 0 is going to return a number error. So we can use the if error to fix this. We can use the if to fix this. I want somebody to attempt using the if error, and I want another person to attempt using the if to fix this quickly so that I can look at statistics for like 10-15 minutes. I'm waiting. Somebody should try to use the if error function to fix it, and another person should try to use the if to fix it. Okay, Imelda.
Okay, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Using the if error.
Okay.
You're going to type equals to if error.
Okay.
Then you select cell J3, which has the function that we're working with.
Okay, let's do it like this. Instead of selecting this, let's pass in the function. Right? What's our function? Our function is the
square root
root,
of I3.
yeah, square root of this. Right? So what's the argument you are attaching to this?
The argument that I'm putting is invalid, comma, and then in parentheses, invalid. Then close the brackets.
So if I drag it down, can you see? I was able to. Now I want somebody else to do the same thing using an if statement. Or Kafo, is your hand up to help us with that?
Okay. Good evening. For the
Yeah,
if statement, you say equal to if.
Okay.
Then.
So what's going to be our logical test?
It will not be the square root of I3, right? Yeah.
No, that's not going to be our logical test.
No. If
what is the root cause of us having that number error?
Hello, I didn't hear what you said.
So what is the root cause of us having that number error there?
The root cause is that what we are trying to do here is that if it doesn't divide it, then we will now have the when in if statement, when you put the logic, then you now have the true and then the false.
So what is the logic? What are we checking for?
We want to check if the square root. We want to check if we can get the square root of the numbers in I column.
And what is the criteria for a square root to work?
The criteria is that it won't be negative.
So if that's the criteria, you will say the number must be greater.
Greater than or equal to 0.
You understand? So
0.
now this is our criteria. We'll say if this is true, then we'll say
we'll say square root of yeah.
So you're using less than instead of greater than. Please, can you check?
No, less than is correct. Oh, sorry. Yeah. This could actually work, but I have to flip the value if true and value if false. But let's go with this. So if it's greater or equal to 0, we'll say, okay, fine. I'll form the square root. If it's not invalid, again, I told you guys, all of these functions, it can only be limited at as how far you can think. You're the one in charge, not Excel. So once you can think of the logic, you don't have a problem. So I'll run this. And you can see that we got the exact same answer using the error statements. Can you see? Can you see? So these are some of the ways you can handle errors using if errors, if numbers, and if statements to solve some issues. Now, I'm going to talk about statistics quickly. I sent you guys, speaking of, how many of you guys went through that statistical playlist I sent for you guys? Very early. I think the first week. How many of you guys went through from Abefe? How many of you guys here went through it? It's for your own good, though. It's for your own good. If you didn't go through them, it's for your own good. Now, these statistical functions, you guys know what mean is. You guys know what count is. You know what count all is. You know what mean and max is. The only thing I would touch here, I will touch the count if, I'll touch quartile, if there's enough time, percentile. Now, someone just tell me what the mean is. Another person tell me what the median is, and another person tell me what the mode is. So what's the mean? Anyone? I'm going to drop all of the hands, then you guys can raise it up. So what's the mean and what is it used for? Okay, inspire. For mean, what does it do?
The mean is used to calculate the average of a range of a date of a value.
Right. Thank you very much. So if you want to know, so everybody lower your hands. I'll ask for the median now. So if you want to calculate the mean in Excel, if I go equal to mean, there's no mean function, right? So instead of mean, an average is also an arithmetic mean. So instead of doing the thing manually calculating it, you can also use the average, right? You can use the average. Average and mean is the same thing. I can come here, I will click on this, I will click enter. So this is our mean, right? Okay, now median. What is the median and what does it do? Miriam.
Okay, the median is used to find the middle value.
When you do what?
It is used to find the middle value of a data.
It's used to find the middle value when you arrange the data in a range in either an ascending or descending order.
Yes.
That part is very important. Do not neglect it.
Okay.
Yeah. So fortunately for us, there's a median. Please, you guys should go back and watch those videos to go in depth into when and when you should use this. Right? So our median is 200. I'm going to drop every hand again. How about the mode? Rachel.
Okay, the mode
Rachel.
The mode we calculate the okay.
Okay, the mode is used to calculate the number with the highest frequency.
Yeah, the most recurrence. So that's what the mode is. So the number that is being repeated the most, that's going to be our mode. Now, let me ask you a question. In the median, what if it's an even number and there are two values in the median? What do you do in that situation? Say there are 10 values, you arrange them alphabetical A to Z, like ascending to descending. You have 1 to 10. So if it's an even number, you're going to have two medians, 5 and 6. That would be your median. So what do you do in that case? You sum up and you divide. Thank you very much, the lady from the group chat there. So also put that at the back of your mind. I'm going to type in mode single. I'll do this. I'll run it down. Now, this mean, median, and mode, here. What are they called in statistics? It's an expo. This are they down your screen, but let me see how many people can get it. Inspire.
Okay, is measure of central tendency.
Why are they called measures of central tendencies?
Because they are used to locate the set of data sets.
That leads to locate the what?
Set of value of a data set.
No, that's wrong. That's wrong. Deborah, want to try? Guru.
I think it can help you know what is happening in the whole data set, or like in a summary and in an overview. It can tell you, okay, this is the average of what this in this data set, this is the average salary, or this is the most occurring data in this data set.
It's not bad, but I'm not satisfied with that explanation. Beatrice Williams.
Okay, good evening, sir. Hope you can hear me.
Yeah, I can.
All right, they are called central measures of central tendency because they describe the center of the value in a set. And most times they are used to measure and summarize large data sets. So it is called central tendency for that reason, because they are used to describe the center of a typical values in a data set.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, somebody mentioned something relating to outliers. So between the mean, median, and the mode, which is the least susceptible, or which is the least measure here that is being affected by outliers? Beverly, and why?
The median.
Okay, you're correct. Median is correct. Why the median?
I think it's because it's not biased. I don't know how to put it.
Okay, go and watch the video, but I'll give you 6/10 for that answer. I think you're the only person that got it because everybody here was saying mode. Yeah, but it's actually the median. So you guys should take note. When you're working or checking for outliers, please avoid mean. Avoid mean as much as possible. So now we have the standard deviation, we have the variance. What is the standard deviation? Come on, Inspire.
Measure of dispersion.
Why is it a measure? What does the standard deviation do? That function.
Sir, I won't lie. I've not finished the video, so I don't know the main purpose of standard deviation yet.
Okay, Beverly, over to you.
I don't know if I'll put it correctly, but I think it's used to measure the distance of the data set, the distance from the data set is to the mean.
Okay. Yes, you're correct. The girl in the comments also is correct. But I wanted you, like, if I asked you how does the mean work, you would tell me, like, okay, fine, it takes the numbers of all, it takes out, sums up all the numbers in a set and divides it by the numbers of recurrence, right? That's what you would tell me. So she is almost correct. It just needs some little arrangement on how she explained it, on how the standard deviation itself works. So Beatrice, you want to try again? Because Beatrice.
Yes, I want to try. The
All right.
standard deviation is a measure of how dispersed or spread out our values are in the data set. So most times, how dispersed or spread out, like spreading out our values in a data set are, and most times it indicates how individual data points, as in deviate from one maybe average of the data set. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Okay. Yeah, the whole point of measures of dispersion is to check the spread, right? The spread. So now, what about variance? What does the variance do? The variance. Anyone? Sonia. Okay, that was a new name. I've never seen that name before.
I've been here. I resumed this week actually.
Okay.
Okay, I think variance also measure how far each number in the set is from the mean average
Okay.
now.
All right, cool. So the notes I'll be dropping, all the syntax and how to use them will be here. You can see them, right? But the last two things I want to talk about, you guys already know what count is. You guys already know what count all is, right? You guys know what mean is. You guys know what max is. How about count if? What does count if do? Now, this count if, the same logic will apply to this count if. You're going to apply it to all of the aggregate ifs. We'll have the sum if, right? We'll have the sum if. We'll have the sum ifs too, right? We'll have the count if. So I'm going to work with the count if and count ifs. Now, the count if is a function in Excel that only counts based on a criteria, just like the if statement. So if I say, okay, fine, I would love to know how many months here did you make above 200? Did you make above 200 sales? I would love to know, right? I will say, okay, fine. I'll come here. I'll go equal to count if. So what's going to be my range? My range is this. What's going to be my criteria? Comma. My criteria now will be greater than 200, right? I'll close this and I'll press enter. Hold on. Oh, shoot. Sorry. This is the actual, I made a mistake with the placement of the double quotation, right? So this is how the count if works. Please check in the sales. How many of the sales do you have more than 200? I will go here to check. No, 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 no. Yes, which is 1. Yes, which is 2. Yes, which is 3. Yes, which is 4. Yes, which is 5. I can come here and say, okay, fine. I want to know the percentage of the months in a year. What the percentage of the year we make above 200 pieces per month? I can just come here. I'll say, okay, fine. This, I'm going to divide this. I'm going to divide this by the count. By the count of this. Right? And I'll press enter. And you can see that. Can you see? So 41% of the time, we made above 200. Same thing applicable to the sum ifs as well. Sum if your criteria. Emma Glory.
So why did you put that a condition in double quotes?
Because for some weird reason, I don't know why they decided to make it that it has to only work like this.
So now it's not seeing it as a text.
If I take it out, you will have error. Can you see? We'll have error.
Yes.
Yeah. So for some weird reason, I don't know why. I don't know why they decided to be spontaneous this time around. So they said encase it in a double quotation for it to work. I cannot tell you why it's like that, but I just know that's how it works. You know, it's weird. The first time I encountered it, I asked the same question, but there's no logical reason as to why it's like this. But it works.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Rachel.
Okay, sorry, she has asked the question I wanted to ask. I don't know that.
Okay. Now, finally, who here can tell me what quartiles are and what percentiles are? Beverly, let's start with quartiles.
Yeah, I think quarters is the division of a data set. You have the first quartile, uh, no, wait, first, second, and third. Yeah. Yeah.
So the
Sure.
quartile basically, okay, continue.
No, I'm done.
All right. So the quartile divides a range into 4 equal parts, right? We'll have the first, we'll have the 0, 1, 2, 3, I think. Yes, 0, 1, 2, 3. So say I come here and I go equal to, I go quartile. Let's go quartile EXE, exclusive. That's 0 exclusive, 0 inclusive. Let's just go exclusive, right? And I say what's going to be my array, and I highlight this. What is going to be my quartile? Comma. Let's go. So we have 1, which is the first quartile. The first quartile also represents the 25 percentile. The second quartile, which is the median value, represents the 50th percentile, and the third quartile represents the 75 percentile. You can see percentile by the right here. Now, let's go to the first quartile, and let me close it. And I press enter. We're having 162. So this is not the benchmark, right? So any number that is lower than this is in the first quartile. Do you understand? So from 162.4 down to 0 is in the first quartile. Are we together? If I take this to the second quartile, which is the median, we're going to have 200. Can you see? So this is more or less like the middle of the spread. So 199 downwards is in the first quartile, and anything above this is in the third quartile. So if I had to change this to 3, which is the 75 percentile, 227, right? So anything above 227.5 is in the third quartile. So what if I change this to 0? Let's see. We'll have a number error. So now I'm rushing because of time. I'm actually rushing because of time. But if you go back and you have a read, or you go back to that video I told you, you will understand more what a quartile is. But do you guys have any questions? But just know a quartile divides a range into 4 equal parts. That's it. Now, for the percentile divides a range of numbers into how many parts? Before you answer that question, I think God, this name. I'm terrible.
It's
names.
it's unnecessary.
Yeah, I would have destroyed it.
Can you hear me, sir?
Okay. Yeah, I can.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't really that video you are referring to. I don't really know the video you've been talking about. I didn't get
It's
to
not
it about it the first time.
it's a playlist. I will try to post it for you. It's a playlist strictly statistics for data analysis. It's going to help. Right?
Okay, thank you.
So now for the percentile, like somebody said in the chat, divides it into 100 different parts, right? So we'll have the 0 percentile and we'll have the 100 percentile. So let me look at the notes I prepared for you guys based on this. Let's see. You can see there are some real world use cases when you can use the average, when you can use the mode, you understand? You can also see some definitions. This is actually packed. This is actually part. You can see standard deviation. The standard deviation is a measure of the amount of variation or dispersion in the data set. It indicates how spread out the values are. You have the relevance, why you should know standard deviation, when you should use it. Same with variance, same with count, the definition, the relevance, count all, definition, relevance. You have the count if, the minimum, the max, the quartile. You can see here, the quartile divides a data set into 4 equal parts. The first quartile, Q1, is the median of the lower half. The second quartile, Q2, is the overall median. And the third quartile, Q3, is the median of the upper half. What is the relevance? Quartiles are useful for understanding the distribution and spread of data, especially for identifying outliers and the interquartile range. So everything, just when you go over the playlist, all the information you need is there. So this is what a quartile is. I've given you the functions, I've given you the definitions, I've given you the relevance. You will get all of this. Now, for the percentile, percentiles indicates the relative standing of a value within a data set. The K percentile is the value below which the K percentile of the data for, blah, blah, blah. What do we use the percentile for? The percentiles are used in performance assessments, determining cutoffs and understanding the distribution of data. So now, say I come here, right? Let's say I come here, right? And I say, okay, equal to percentile, right? Equal to percentile, and I say, okay, I do this, right? I do this, comma. So now ask me what's going to be the K. So I'll go 0.9. What does 0.9 means? 90th percentile. 0.1 means 10th percentile. 0.20 is 20th percentile. 0.3 is the 30th percentile. And I close this thing and I press enter. We have 247 here. What does this 247 mean if this is the 90th percentile score? What am I trying to say here, class? Class, oh.
Lisa, can you take the question back? I didn't get you clearly. There was a network glitch in my.
Now, what I did here was basically calculating the 90th percentile benchmark from this, right? From this here, right? So, and we got a total of 247 from that expression. So I was asking, what does this mean? Blessing, you want to help us out?
Yes, good evening, everyone.
Yeah, good evening.
It means that the value 247 is the 90th percent, like 90th percent of all the values here in the cells.
Okay, what does that mean?
It's just the representation of the 90th percent of the value of the cell.
Okay, you tried. I was expecting to say that means this number here is greater than 90% of the data in that range. So if they say, if you write a test and they said you're in the 90th percentile, what does that mean? You're in the top 10% of people that wrote that exam. Do you understand? Percentile and percentage is different. Go and do the research. So if they said your score is in the 90th percentile, that means you're in the top 10% of people. Your score is in the top 10% of people that wrote that exam. Are we together? Do you guys understand? So that's what percentile is. It is basically used for assessments and all of that. But there are other uses for it. But the most times you use it is for this. Now, any questions? I'm rushing because I also have an engagement right about now as well. Right? Any questions? Any questions? Right? The reason why I'm rushing, I want to use Wednesday and Friday to work on a project Sunday, we use it to recap all of the assignments and any other questions from beginning up until the end. Because after this week, from next week, after this week that's coming, upper week, we are going into Power BI. We're going into Power BI. So Beatrice.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Can you hear me, please?
Yes.
Okay, I want to remind you something. We're talking about
Yeah.
rounding up and capping next week. Please don't forget, I was asking questions for the use case of X lookup and the rest of them. You say you're going to treat that before we go into the project.
Okay.
So, and also, I
Yes.
was talking about when I was going through Dickie's profile, when he talked about 80% of our analysis work is mainly centered on data because real-world data are dirty. You said you are going to use a real-world data for the project. So just let me remind you these two things, sir.
If I decide to use the real-world data, it might be the time allocated might not be enough, and I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. There's something we have planned for you guys. If it works, we're going to use the real-world data.
Okay. If the time allocated is not enough, maybe you can do marathon like this too for us to finish it up. I know it's not easy on your side, but I'm just pleading. I understand.
Please, I'm also in support of you.
I understand because I know that you're very. I've seen your schedule for next week. You're very tight, but please just manage and just help us out. Thank you, sir.
Let's see. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see how far we move that next week. Let's see. All right. Okay. So if somebody was asking also inclusive and exclusive percentile, right? So now, when something means inclusive, right? When something means inclusive, what does that mean? It means the function calculates the percentile where the percentile range includes 0 and 1, which is 0 to 100%. For exclusive, the function calculates the percentile excluding 0 and 1, meaning it calculates percentile strictly between 0 and 100%. So one is very strict, the other one can work probably outside of 0. Right? So if you have like a minus percentage, because you could get a minus percentage, the inclusive will work, right? But the exclusive only works between 0 to 100%. Why the exclusive works between 0 to 100%? Why the exclusive works strictly between 0 to 100%? So that's the difference between that. Now the project, I don't know if we gathered enough information. We wanted to use your information, the rates of submission of assignments, rates of attendance, some informations, maybe like full names, country of origin, state of origin, and all of those things. We wanted to create like a really nice dashboard that's like a student demographic dashboard, right? I'll probably put out a survey. I don't know. Okay. I think I have an idea. I will discuss with my co-facilitator. If we can pull out a Google form that you guys can fill, we could use this as but that will come in really well at the ending of all 3 tools, because we wanted to gauge your experiences. On different aspects of this training so far, so that we can draw our insight from there and apply the insights we've gotten going forward. Do you understand? So you can see in real life how we are drawing information out of the data you guys are giving to us, how we are improving based on the information we are able to pull out from that data. So I will discuss with my co-facilitator. Let's see what we can do. But if we will need active participation, we might put out a Google form that will require you guys to fill it out very well. And since it's human beings that are filling it out, definitely there will be dirty data there. So we might have to clean. Well, let's see. Imelda, now I think that'll be the last question I'll take for today.
Thank you, Dan. I actually wanted to drop a suggestion for the projects that you were just talking about now.
Yeah.
Okay, so since we are learning 3 applications, that's Excel, Power BI, and SQL.
Yeah.
What if the survey that you want us to use for the project, what if we break it to Excel? So let the survey measure our understanding of Excel, how the Excel classes have been. Then you can use that for our end of Excel projects before we move to Power BI.
Yeah, it's a valid one. This just came in my head a few minutes ago. I have to sit down and structure on the kind of questions, because we'll be asking questions that, okay, fine, between all of these parts of Excel we've covered, where do you experience difficulty the most? The way that we've been teaching, which days of the week? By the time if the attendance you guys are feeling it very well, we'll know the days of the week that we're having the highest level of attendance. Forward, we will know how we restructure our schedule. You understand? To accommodate even more people. So this is what data analysis is, and I would really love to involve you guys. I don't know. Tomorrow I'll hold a meeting. I will try to hold a meeting. If we can come up with that, we'll let you guys know tomorrow. But you guys should expect my assignment tomorrow, and it's not going to be an easy one. So I expect maximum participation. On average, off the top of my head, there are about 400 or 300 plus persons there. The average attendance rate is roughly around 30 to 40%, right? 30 to 40%. So I don't know. Anyways, thank you guys very much. My SQL class people are waiting for me. So let me log off, and I'll see you guys next week. Do have a wonderful week.